All
right, okay. It gets 5 o'clock. We can call animal control to order. I think everybody should have minutes in their hand. Look,
Make a motion to approve.
do I have a second? All those in favor? All right, then it's been approved. This is animal control. Does anybody have any public comment for animal control this evening? No? Oh, do you?
No.
All right, seeing no public comment, we'll move on. That's right. I mean, she got it at the right time. Okay. So we'll move on to the director's report. Director Gatlin.
You have your reports in front of you. I think we had a fairly average month. It is puppy season, so things are starting to pick up. That's your report. Do you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions? I entertain a motion to approve the director's report.
Motion approved. Second.
All right. All those in favor of approving the director's report? Aye. Aye. At this point, you want to do budget amendments first? I think everybody should have the budget amendment in front of you. You want to go through it? Can you go through it?
Well, so the motor vehicles, the 16,000 is for a trailer that we're wanting to purchase. As y'all know, we are at the landfill and we're behind a locked gate most of the time. So any after hours or any weekend adoption stuff is almost impossible. We're going to take this trailer and make it a mobile adoption unit. Basically add some cages to it, which is similar to a concession trailer. The side opens up. We'll be able to carry it out anywhere we need to go on the weekends or whatever time. We'll be able to do an adoption event or any other type of public event we need to work at. Feel like that this is in line with what our goals are, get more dogs out there, keep less dogs in the shelter. And that is what the trailer's for. You may have a question about what we're going to do or how we're going to do that. That's total project cost. Also, that's not just the trailer. That is everything we need to go with it and to be able to get it striped up and be used.
So that's that 718 line. Can you explain the 791? Other construction?
Yes. So also at our facility out there, we are not, at this time, we don't have a volunteer program. We want to be able to let volunteers come out. We also would like to be able to have kids that are trying to do community service hours for their whole scholarships, some different things like that, be able to come out and help us out. But our facility needs some work in order to be a little more volunteer friendly. We've been able to do several things ourselves. We're adding addition and some other safety improvements around there. This line, this 10,300 is for a perimeter fence. We're going to put a 6-foot chain link fence around 2 sides of it. I've already talked with Cindy. She is good with us there's nothing there that would affect the landfill in any way. And this would give us 3 separate, for lack of a better term, play yards out back, areas that we can get the dogs out that we don't have to worry about losing them off a leash. Y'all have been there the first week. You just always do that. It's a pretty good foot pursuit. Watch me chase that dog around. So this would help us out with that. We wanted to go ahead and do that now because the fence company was so far out and how long it's going to take to get this done. If we ordered it tomorrow, they said 3 months is the quickest they could get to us. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and move on this now instead of doing it next time.
What fence company?
That's fair. So I think he does quite a bit with us already. I called another, but they did not return my call. Evidently, they were pretty busy.
Again, say a couple more things. You want to?
Yeah. So gasoline, we are asking for $3,000 increase in our gasoline line. That gives us. I think we're going to need $2,000 to finish out the year. That gives us $1,000 pad there. just to make sure, we're also asked for that increase in, the upcoming budget as well.
And then the last part, so the longevity is to move Steve's longevity over to this budget, since he moved over from the sheriff's department, and then do you explain the position?
Yes, so, unfortunately today we had somebody, resign, and that person was occupying a kind of a position that had been made for them, I think. So they were an assistant, kennel tech, and, she was full-time getting benefits, but only working 32 hours a week. And I think we were paying her a different scale. What I'd like to do is go ahead and make that a full-time position, 40 hours a week, and, make that a kennel tech position instead of assistant. We are a 365-day-a-year operation. Not always open, but we always have to have somebody there doing this. That's what the kennel techs do. I need people on the weekends, and we need to be able to cover this. So I would like to do that, and I think it's a huge expenditure to make that a.
No, so there's a part-time line that he hasn't been using because he didn't have any part-timers anymore, so we moved some of the money over from part-time to be able to cover it. So that's why there's not a significant expense to this. This is just to, get us to the end of the year, and then it'll, take over from there. But this will allow him to hire 40 hours a week instead of 32. So that's what the difference is. So I think that's all the parts and pieces to the budget amendment. So if I could entertain a motion.
So move.
All right. Is there any discussion? No? All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Just a question there, and some of this coming out of the general fund and some of it's out of the dog fund.
Well, some of it's coming out of 189,
What is what capital projects? Okay, so not touching the reserve.
not touching the reserve.
Okay. So I think we've been through all that. So I guess last part is status quo budget and then needs.
Okay. So do you want me to talk about adding to the status quo?
Well, I think we need to do status quo budget first. So you guys should have a status quo budget in your hand. And I think you didn't move any lines around, I don't think, right?
We did not.
Okay. So status quo budget is the same as last year, no line movement at all. So I could entertain a motion to accept the status quo budget.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Just checking. All right, and the last piece, you want to get your needs list?
So, there's some items here to increase, maintenance and repair. We're adding to that. That is maintenance and repair vehicles. We've added a vehicle this year. That's a pretty low line, and we've got quite a few older vehicles. This gives us some room should we have an issue with one of them. We're increasing travel by 1,500. That's just simply has to do with, education, training, those things we have to keep up. In 399, we're increasing, $1,788. That is the cost, annual recurring cost of our, new computer program. Y'all have funded new, hardware, last time, and we moved some money to do software. That program is in place. We're about 50% live with it right now. We have to get the rest of the medical stuff from the shelter on board on that. We've been very busy, and so, we're about to get that program working, but that is to pay for that program per year. Again, the gasoline increase that I talked about already. Office supplies, I did ask for an increase. We need to redo citations and our forms and quite a bit of the stuff that we have there. It's just time to update some of that stuff. It's a big cost, and that's what that is about. In 499, there's an add-in for the just the standard things that we use. We had some traps tore up recently, just a vandalism. People see them out and decide they don't like animal control having dog traps, and so We need to replace a few. We need to update some of them. They get used a lot. That's one of the tools we use most, and so they wear out. The rest of that increase has to do with personal safety equipment, like gloves, snake tongs, cat tongs, any of those type of things. 524 is an increase of $1,800 in the training line. Just to give you an example, I have a training class that Kennel Tech is in next week. We got a grant for it, but it was a $1,500 class. So they just aren't cheap anymore. So we've added this for opening people need Kennel Tech in that class next year. And that is my line increases for the recurring budget, except for,
Yep, do you want to go through the additional personnel? And,
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to go through the rest of it, then we can ask questions after.
okay. So I'm asking for an additional Kennel Tech. Again, this is a 365-day-a-year operation, and as we've had it, this one girl that was part-time was working on the weekends, every weekend, every holiday. That's going to be a hard position to fill. Nobody wants to work that. One of the great things about working here is we get plenty of time off. We get good benefits. But people need to be able to take time off, and I have just enough people to operate on a day-to-day basis. So this extra person gives us the opportunity for those people to be able to go classes and take off and do other things, gives us the growth rate that I think we all see happening. We're in pretty good shape right now. If the economy goes south, we're going to see a lot more intake of dogs. I think that's just a fairly accepted that that's how that is. Again, the animal control officer, the second position I'm asking for, again, the same thing. Those guys, they trade off. I have two of them now, and they trade off as who's on call. And we go out I think you see on the reports, they go out several nights a week and on the weekends. And so every other week, in addition to their 40 hours, those guys are going out on call stuff. We can add more regular day service hours. We can have people there on Saturday. That's less overtime. That's also a little less stress on the employees. So that's basically one of the need for those.
Steve, is that going to include, like, when we start doing these adoption events with the trailer, how is that going to be covered staff-wise?
So this would help with that. What I'm getting ready to do is one of the animal control officers who is Monday through Friday now has agreed to change his schedule to Tuesday through Saturday. That will give us some person on Saturday. Then we're making that other position full-time that's working weekends. And so that's an additional person. When we start working on the volunteer program, we're hoping when we do an event like that, we'll have a volunteer or two that can go with the ACO or a trailer out to what we need to do. So the goal is to have one employee and then volunteers, only when we have adoption events like that. No, an animal control officer's job is not all in the field writing tickets or doing animal control enforcement stuff. In fact, only about half of their job is. The rest of it is spent also in the kennel and also with adoption things and the other parts of it. So those positions kind of add to the whole picture.
When we start using volunteers more often, do we have liability insurance that takes care of those people?
We do, and I have set with our insured folks. We've come up with a waiver. It's been through our insurance company. I think we sent a copy to Mike. We've looked at other folks' program, and we're making our building safe, and then we're doing our due diligence there, and then yeah.
What about like ages, like the volunteers? Like how young can they be?
So we haven't, that is a question in our next meeting. Our first volunteers are going to have to be adults. When it comes to allowing the community service hours, we've talked with the court system because juvenile youth services, they don't have any place to send them. The judge doesn't have any place to send them for community service. And so the problem we've got now, though, is that we don't have Saturday hours. the majority of people that have high school students that want to volunteer, whether they be from youth services or they be high school kids that need their community service hours, they want to do it at night or on the weekend, which I don't have those hours yet. So this expansion helps us do that. So we kind of, it's kind of a little bit of give and take. We get these hours, but we also get the volunteers in, which I think will help us out a lot. A lot of our program has to do with conditioning and behavioral issues with the dogs. Involves activity, being able to get people there. They don't even have to be trained, but they can do activity with them to get them to the point where we can start with the real training stuff. I think really helps.
Did you want to go through your non-recurring?
Yes, ma'am. All right, for the 2025 non-recurring, we got 3 iPads. That is for the trucks. Our new computer system allows our guys to do their reports in the field. It's already saving us time because we're doing them on cell phones now, but I think this makes it a little bit easier if they can do them on a little bigger device. It keeps them from having to come back to the office and do their report before they go home. If they're out in the field and they don't have a dog to return, they can finish the report and head to the house. Saves us a little bit of time there. Below that, I've got some items, safe and cabinets on a counter for the clinic room. We need to update the examination table. Some of our stuff is not secure. We have people in the facility even now. We need to do a better job of securing those items. Safe is for some of the stuff. I think we were required to keep certain things in a safe. And so this is to update some of the security stuff we already have. Truck equipment, y'all gotten us a new truck. We are waiting on, still waiting on bed to be manufactured in Pennsylvania. They're giving me a date of July or August. And I talked to another manufacturer in Salt Lake City and said, hey, listen, can y'all do any better? They said, sure, 9 months. So it'll be July or August, and we will have to go to Pennsylvania and get it. There's not many people that make them. So, but when we get that truck, we need to equip it, the catch poles, nets, spike gloves, the things that you put on them, and we need to have on that truck. So.
Can I get a motion to accept the needs list? Second?
So-
Any discussion?
We make-
Nancy made the second. Do we have any discussion? I have one question myself, but yeah, so we just did the budget amendment with the 3,000. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining us at Animal Control. So since we just did the budget amendment to increase the gasoline line by 3,000, you don't need to do it again, right? Or do you need an additional 3,000 for next year?
I hope not. We'll
Yeah.
see what the gas does, but I think that if that will reoccur, then you could take that 3,000 off. If
That's
that reoccurs.
And what I intend to do is basically, as I present these to budget, is to ask them whether they're okay with them being recurring or not. So I think the budget committee will make those calls to them.
Because of the
Okay.
late in the, okay.
Yeah.
okay. So we should go ahead and leave that on there then. I guess for
Well-
3,000.
After budget tonight, we'll know.
Okay, but we should leave it on the
Yeah.
needs list then. You see what I was asking? Okay.
That was my ask for 6,000 next year.
Right, I figured that was the case. Yeah, William, I'm sorry.
Okay, so the 20,000 will go up by 531 for next year, as far as the recurring.
So, yes. Yeah, I think that's the total. Yeah, so it's only,
551,
yeah, the 20,000.
what, 16?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then there's the additional personnel that are not included in that, but yes. That was it.
And I'm good with sending this, the budget, especially recurrence, a small amount. What all can we use the donations? I know we're with 19,000 right now. What have we been using that for?
So the way it was explained to me, they when they accepted this, Miss Wilson, is that it was for medical related expenses, things that would save a dog's life, which I can make an argument that anything that I've presented here tonight could save a dog's life. But I think it was intended to be medical items.
We did take a look at that for the trailer because of that stipulation. We didn't think that the trailer actually fit that definition. So that's why the trailer is on, separate capital projects.
I don't know if you have the means to do so or not, but anytime you take money from a donor, you're obviously subject to the donor stipulations, whatever those happen to be. So if you ever have questions, it'd be nice if you reach back out to her and ask.
So I have reached out. I've just not gotten anything back. It's my understanding that Miss Wilson has moved out of Wilson County. And so, I was told, not officially, but that this was a community donation because she lived in the community.
Yes.
And that I don't know that we should expect that this would happen again. Now, we do get donations from folks. Our adoption fee is $45. We only accept cash. People give us $50 and say, keep that $5. And they, when a person does that, or a person says, I want to donate to you guys to help the dogs, then we add that into that fund. However, we do keep up with what was donated by Miss Wilson and what we put in that line. And right now, I think there's about $3,500 that was donated by other folks in that line. And I have not, from any donation that I've received, not had anyone say, don't use this for anything but this. So,
Why do we only take cash?
That policy precedes me. I didn't realize we only took cash.
well, they can write us a check, I'm sorry. We do not do debit cards.
Well, okay, that makes sense because we don't have means to do. In order for us to take debit cards, we have to establish a bank account for his department. And we've already done this for Department or two. It's problematic to say the least. The only other thing you could do would be he could say, okay, what I need you to do is to go to the trustee's office and make a donation to animal control through the trustee's office. You can't give it to me. Most people are not going to take that step.
It just sets them out for failure to accept cash, especially.
Yeah.
Off the beaten path and everything else. I wish we could look for something, I guess, a little bit better to protect you and your employees and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, not really much to be done, except say we don't take donations. I'm open to that. That's what everybody wants to do.
Well, this is the adoption fee is the problem.
Yeah.
It's not a donation, it's just the adoption.
Yeah, you can say you gotta give me a cashier's check. Again, you can't make things more difficult on people than they're willing to do. And
Right.
you're limited on the number of bank accounts that you can establish, that you should establish, that run outside the trustee's office. I'll put some thought into it, but I don't know what the answer is.
Just think about it. I
Yeah.
think it's a bad practice.
Yeah.
To accept cash.
Yeah, I get it. I do. I get it.
It has been discussed.
So
quite a bit.
within our, makes you feel a little better, within our controller, like, we have a policy, and we have to go through it. We just had to do it. I can't think of the name of it, but, internal controls. We just had to go through that, and we had to list out our policy and how we handle this and what we do. The amount of time it takes for that to get to the trustee's office, how often we have to do a deposit, all that's listed in. And so generally, I come up here about every day for the deposit. If we had, even if it be, $45. We're in town and we go and make those deposits. So we don't keep any amount on hand. I think we have $100 we keep on hand, but we don't keep any other than that, more than about 24 hours.
Cash is the hardest thing to control. I think Commissioner Glover's point is completely valid. It's, even if you have two people, ideally, you would have two people present at counting that would both sign off. This is how much money was collected, and then that would be compared by to somebody to what was actually deposited with the trustee.
Exactly. So our control does not allow the person that made out the deposit to bring it to you. Trustee, so we have to have two different people involved in that.
That's about the best you can do, but anytime you're handling cash, it is scary.
Really not though. If you got a dog missing, that's $45. Somebody owe me $45.
Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, I can think of, I wouldn't say, but let's just say, the person, there's always a flaw at some point. And if that flaw happens to be, the person at the top, the money doesn't make it to the trustee's office. Nobody really realizes the money didn't make it to the trustee's office. There's always a flaw in the system.
But it has been a conversation. Like we've been trying to figure out. Steve actually brought it to finance, and we were trying to figure out some solutions.
I'd really like to be able to take, and I understand why
Right.
we can't, but I'd really like to be able to take debit cards because, to be honest, you talk to any used car salesman in town, when he sells a used car, he doesn't want the person to leave, go get the money and then come back.
No.
Because he's afraid they won't come back. And it's happened to us. We had somebody that just bound and determined they wanted this puppy and then they left and didn't come back. So, it's not about the money, it's
We may get there.
getting them done.
We may get there where you have I know everywhere you go now, people have these things that they hook to their phones where you swipe cards. So we may get there, but it's scary to think about 50 different departments having 50 different bank accounts that we have to keep up with and reconcile.
But we've got a receipt process and a reconciliation process, so you know what comes in and they're received out, that's all reconciled.
Yes, and it has multiple.
Until it's not.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we need one final vote to accept the needs list.
Yeah, you had a motion and a second.
Yep. So, all those in favor of
Aye.
accepting the needs list? Aye. All right. Any opposed? No. All right. I think that's it. I think we just need one more motion.
Mr. Adjourn.
All right. Thanks, guys.